Ioana Manea, Chief Innovation Officer at Arctic Stream, IT integrator with a focus on infrastructure cybersecurity, and Andrei Dumbrava, Global IAM Architect at Eviden, which is an Atos business that brings together digital, big data, and security. Nice to have you here. And thank you for being a partner here at Innovation Labs. Before starting, I want to give you, let's say, 45 seconds each for a personal pitch, a personal and professional pitch about your company and your role in the company, just for the people to know you better, even if they knew you at the hackathon.
Okay, so let's try speaking at the microphone without hearing the microphone feedback. So yes, hi, I'm Ioana. I'm Chief Innovation Officer at Arctic Stream, which sounds like a very fancy name, which covers a lot of activities, mainly developing technological strategy and keeping in touch with partnerships and with different vendors at Arctic Stream, who is a system integrator, meaning we are building the digital infrastructure on which applications are run. We are securing it, providing cybersecurity services, and we are building also data centers and collaboration services. That would be.
And Andrei?
Well, yeah, I will take also this part because our colleagues from online, they need to hear us. That's why we are using microphones, though here we are speaking loudly. I'll just correct a little bit, Vlad. I'm domain architect. Yeah, so global domain architect. What actually I'm doing, I'm pre-positioning my company to be as best as prepared it can be in order to adopt new technologies, to develop new workforce, so skills within the workforce, and to develop new services on the technologies that they will emerge on the future to come. My focus is mainly on technologies that they appear on a tech radar. My target is between what is now on the wave, but mostly what is up to 10 years, with heavy orientation on 3 to 7 years in technologies. So mainly what I work with a lot of partners from the market, with a lot of product providers, with a lot of service providers. I work with mainly on technologies that they will be appearing as mass releases over next years.
I'm curious if your companies are the first B in B2B or the second B?
Well, we have, okay, perhaps it's not the best remark. We are all around because in our case, we do not have a retail setup. You'll never find our products into a retail setup. But we are a business that we help other businesses to have products and services for their customers. So in all what we can speak and we can address, we are actually all around. If officially we are B2B, we never lose the sight of B2C. And also what we look on the chain between different integrators of our partners, between different product providers, service providers, supply chain, or the entire supply chain, in correlation also with their customers. So it's really all around.
In our case as well, we are the first B, so we are addressing only to enterprise customers. We don't address consumers directly. So we discuss with, banks, retails, outsourcing, industries, utilities, public sector customers.
So just to start the conversation, because we are talking about how to communicate with B2B clients, starting from the beginning and thinking from a new client perspective, what are some of the strategies of building a good relationship with the new B2B clients? How do you identify their needs? How do you start working with them? From a position of a bigger company than a startup, of course, but some strategies are transferable.
Well, first, do a little bit of research to whom you will be speaking. In your organization, it's like a living organism, They have moral values, they have particularities that defines them. They have something that brought together all those people that constitute an organization. On the second part, look to what they are seeking to achieve. So what I recommend is to generally, if you want to develop a relationship with a new B2B, is to avoid standard and to avoid a robot communication. It's not a B2B communication, it's not a machine-to-machine communication. It's actually a very human-to-human communication. So first, know the people from that organization, have a short look on how they are thinking, what they are seeking, or what defines them, and try to address on a common background. And nevertheless, just stay curious about their organization. You need to know them.
Very much agree to the research part. Second, when you don't know whom to contact or how to get in contact, try to search for partnerships, companies that might be already working with them, that can build this partnership, present you, introduce you to the right people, and start from there. So you are introduced by a person that they already trust, and you come already from a different position.
I can just as a short tip here. If you strive to know that organization, you will observe that it's extremely easy to get a contact there, because that organization, at some moment, it will spot that you are interested about them. So in many of the cases, actually, the organization will come to you, oh, we have some common ground, or we have some common interests. But it's key for you to do a research and to try to know that. It's like when you are going town and you want to meet a girl. Yeah, it's exactly.
I was inspired by a question for Vladimir in the previous section of this evening, because, for example, for me, if I want to do an article about a startup, I usually go on LinkedIn, I find the startup, and there are 4 people working for that startup. It is easy to find the right people. But let's say they are a startup with 4 people, and they want to work with a big company, and they go on LinkedIn and they find 150 people, 1,500 people. And I don't know, sometimes it's complicated to know the right person to speak to.
It's not about the right person to speak to. What are you speaking with that person? In example, today I have 106 messages on LinkedIn. I responded only to one. It was to someone that is here now. Yeah, it's a startup. Why? Because all the other communications, they were machine communications. They were not even looking on the profile. So when I see, just as I glimpse, okay, it's a standard communication there, it's just a pattern, I just simply ignore it. So, okay, it's very easy to get a contact in a company. What are you going to discuss with him? How will you start the conversation? How to break the ice?
Also, I would say that in a big company, you need to know which department you are addressing to. So try to filter your research. There won't be like 100 people, hopefully, working there. And after that, try to stalk them a little bit, in the sense that try to see what are their interests, maybe see if they're attending a fair, a business fair, an event. So maybe try to get to meet them in an informal place.
And I'm going to stick with this idea of communications, because this is also my background. And Andrei mentioned that impersonal conversation messages you receive. Nowadays, what I see in this area is a lot of GPT emails and messages. And I can understand that no one is very good at, I don't know, writing a business email. But how do you ponder this between personal and try to say it in the right way?
Well, I know that we are living now we are living a paradox, because we are trained in early years, we are shifted towards efficient communication, not losing time, a lot of condensation, and because we try to find fast recipes and fast tracks, we lose the important things. First of all, if you have a common ground with someone, talk with him on the subjects that differentiates you. What do you have else than what he has? Don't try to, especially when you are tackling a B2B, don't try to pitch or to have a conversation on what they already have. Have a little bit of research and seek what they need or what they might be interested in. Don't pitch on what they have. If they have the same service or the same product that you have, don't go and say, okay, look, my product is just as better. You don't know the internal things, you don't know a lot of things, so the chances to offense are actually quite high. So how you distinguish? I don't know, it's a chemistry in communication. Also, by the way, it's how I treat communication, yeah? Perhaps there are a lot of, I don't know, domain architects or perhaps of CTOs, CEOs, CIOs or whatever that they like standard communication because it's very easy for them to process and to filter. Might be the case, yeah? But you need to do a research about that person to see if he's okay with that type of communication or not. But in big businesses with a lot of variety, personal communication, adapted communication, communicating the key things that differentiates, that brings value for you and for your future partner, those are the correct ingredients.
And also I would add that people buy from people. So exactly like you were saying, try to find common ground and more importantly, listen. Because the best way to find out what the customer needs is to listen, not to try to position your idea, because most of the times what the customer is buying is not what you think that you are selling.
And going forward, you are a startup. You have no background to support you, no history in business, no prizes, wins, employees. No study cases for that solution. How do you build a study to start to work with bigger companies in a B2B environment?
Well, that's not an easy question because it depends a lot on how you are as a person in a startup, how you are as an entrepreneur, what defines you. If you are not curious enough, if you are not willing to invest a lot of effort in actually doing the research, perhaps learning new technologies, if you learn something different than what others are learning, perhaps to have the availability to build, I don't know, a joint project or to just go with a proof of concept, go in a hackathon, go with something different. Because it is crucial for you to attract interest. Yeah. So if you really have no connection in organization, and if you want to get communication starting, first of all, you should research very well that organization. What defines, what are the business values, what are the social values, what's the perimeter, what's the market of that company, what they need for future. And you really need to think for that business, how to develop that business. And when you are thinking how to develop that business, you will find what that business needs from you. And you start the discussion from there. Again, don't go, and that's a pitch recommendation. Don't start the pitch immediately to push a solution that you have. Listen 5 minutes, stay somewhere a little bit, make a step back, listen, observe what people are doing, how they are interacting, and afterwards adapt your pitch to address what you observe that they need in the future, not what they have.
Yes, try to find the commonalities of the industry you are addressing to, and also about the research. The internet is great because you can find a lot of information. Try to see what they are saying in the newspapers, what they are trying to do, what is their mission. Are they planning to cut costs? Are they planning to expand internationally? So have those things in mind. And I would recommend again the partnership building. So maybe you know someone who is already working there. I don't know, the energy company, the provider for laptops. Try to package your solution together with them. Of course, as long as they're not a competitor and they can be a good partner for that.
But from from a perspective of bigger companies, going into this problem finding process, how is your process of finding and documenting a problem, an issue that a client has and you can solve, which can be also transferable to a smaller company, a startup?
Well, we invest a lot in developing social relations with our partners. Social relations, don't think that we are, I don't know, best friends sharing beers and stuff like that. But we invest in keeping a constant and relevant communication. Yeah, what you need, how you need. Look, I see this is your business model. I've seen that you are not growing this year, neither in customers, neither in investments, neither in knowledge investments. Yeah, by the way, one of the key things in organization is knowledge. Yeah, not financials. Money come, money go. That's another problem. Yeah, knowledge is the one that will ensure that you will be in the business for many years. Yeah, money may say that today you are fine or not, but it's only a snapshot of today. So after you establish the relationship with one of the partners, you maintain constant communication. Then you seek for common grounds where you can develop things together, yeah, on mutual interest, and you build a relation from there. Because once you go into the setup, you get into the question: how are you today? Today, what was difficult for you? What do you think for one of your customers? What do you think you can help him? What value can you bring him? And from those sorts of questions, yeah, you start building. And if you are in the type of the organization that the entire organization is oriented towards doing the right things to address the needs identified of your partners, then obviously you have some grounds for success.
And I would add, try to use your network as much as possible. We all have families, extended families. You can find someone that works in that industry, that maybe works for that company. Maybe it's not the right person to talk to, but you can find some insights. And maybe I am to blame here, but I am against surveys, because usually the people that ask the surveys have a bias in how they ask the questions, and it is well known that they will get the answers that they were looking for from the beginning. So I wouldn't recommend doing surveys and sending them in mass, because you might not get the answers which are relevant for your product. So try to get that information from talking to people.
But have you seen, sorry, yeah.
No, pay attention to the surveys. Don't send surveys to managers and to business stakeholders. You talk directly with them. You send surveys to 10,000 people that you need to communicate and to get a lot of data in a standardized way. Otherwise, communicate directly and ask the smart things and try to seek, just prove that you are paying a little bit of attention and you are paying some care to that organization.
But have you seen, Ioana, have you seen good surveys? Because you mentioned that you don't like them, but maybe they didn't have the right questions. I don't know.
I'm trying to think now of a survey that I liked. I think there are some rules in how to define the questions, which can make them better. But you might need someone else from outside of your startup to ask those questions and to frame those questions more, let's say, correctly, so that they are not biased in any way.
Well, but perhaps the right question is how smart a survey needs to be to not make some statistics interpretation of the problems that you already have, you admit you have, and you are already prepared to face them. Because most of the surveys, and I see this very often, especially to big four companies, that they are addressing a lot of surveys on different leadership points in big organizations. And what they are mainly addressing, they put some questions on something that people is responding that yes, we do have that problem. And if you look 2 questions down below, you'll see the answers that yes, we are prepared to face that problem. So basically, that survey is irrelevant. It's just, a simple statistic.
I just wanted to give a quick example of what we talked. So I was curious about the cloud service adoption in Romania. And at the beginning, I tried to make a survey and ask in different events. And I kind of got the answers that I expected from the beginning. And then I started talking to people from my network and asking them and really understanding, okay, these banks are using cloud services for what specific applications? These retail companies, and they were much more open to give more insights about what they are using, how, why they are reluctant, and things like that.
But you got the proper answers after you've spoken directly with them, not surveying.
Exactly.
I'm thinking of a thing about surveys, and we will go on after that. Maybe you need to be prepared, because usually surveys are for validation, but maybe you can think backwards and do a survey for non-validation. Basically, try to think in, contrary to your opinion, to find out if they don't like it, if they don't want to use it.
Well, what role do you want to play with that survey? Do you want to play the role of the foresight, that you are actually doing foresight? If you are doing foresight, don't do a survey like that to validate or to invalidate, because it's useless effort. There is no insight, and you'll get no relevant information to perform your foresight. So that's the biggest mistake. If you want to validate, if you want to measure the efficiency of a launched product or a launched service, what is the adoption rate of something that is existing, and perhaps get some feedback from there to know what you can adjust, that is something different. But that should not be something that you as an entrepreneur should do. You should pay someone that is specialized in collecting the feedback, structuring that feedback, and translating that feedback for you. Because especially you as an entrepreneur, if you don't have some good experience in how to interpret those surveys or on how to build a survey, you obtain only irrelevant things. So it's extremely tricky. I know that especially in schools, or especially in business schools, you are always taught that, okay, survey, measure the impact. But if you are doing wrong, a wrong measurement is just a wrong thing. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
By the way, you as engineers, I think you are making some kind of curricula here that you are trained on how to measure and how to get the relevant process to measure something that is actually relevant for the process or for the application that you are building. Use the same principles.
Let's say we passed the feedback phase, and the startup can work with a bigger enterprise. And sometimes as a startup you get lost in client requests. They want the product differently, they need it more personalized, and you start from somewhere and end up nowhere near where you had your vision. How do you stop these requests? How can you not get lost in client requests?
First of all, get rid of yes-mans. That's also a problem that we have in big corporations.
If you are the yes man or woman?
If you are the yes man or yes woman, if that organization did not build some mechanisms that someone else tells you, you are too yes man today, and we can't do it all, we can't commit to do everything, for sure that organization will have its own way to non-existence. So don't be a yes man. You define what you are capable to do, with how many resources you dispose to implement something, and only you commit on the product or on the service. If something you see it's relevant, okay, perhaps you might adjust your roadmap. But if it's not business critical, put it on a roadmap on a later state, and you'll see then if you have the possibility to pivot to implement that requirements or not. some of the startups, because I'm seeing this also in the mentoring sessions that are happening now in innovation labs. I spoken with that company, it has this use case with that company, that use case with that company, that use case. Okay, do you want to implement all of them? Yes, well, you don't have the power, the possibility, you don't have the time. The day still has 24 hours. Yeah, so it's something that you'll only fail. I'm not sure if you can recover from failure, because also you don't have enough life experience to recover from failures. That's a completely separate discussion. But just try to seek common grounds between those use cases and adopt those common grounds into your roadmap. It's critical to have a roadmap. You can't do all the things today or tomorrow, but you can do it in several years.
There is a rule in sales which says qualify, qualify, qualify. And that means to use wisely the resources in the deals that have the most potential to bring back the money. So try as much as possible to qualify the customer, how much he's willing to invest, and if he's willing to invest in your product. What's the wallet share that he wants to spend? And one example, in software as a service startups, they use a strategy called MEDIC with double D. So maybe research on it, which means that they qualify very well at the beginning and they invest the resources just if the deal and the customer has been pre-qualified very well before and deserves this investment of time and effort from the engineering team as well.
Also, as a recommendation, there is a principle. Okay, this principle is mostly on sales applied, but I found out that I implemented actually on service engineering, on product engineering, and it actually worked very well. Yeah, it's called Manea, most advanced yet affordable. So, from those requirements, which are the requirements that you can make the most of advances with the resources that you can afford to spend on over a period of months? That is the key of what you can commit in terms of customer requirements or not. You can search for Manea, it's quite of literature. Although some will say, okay, this is not agile process, we only need to work agile. Well, in life you can't be on agile. In life you also need some time to think ahead.
But there's this saying that the client is always right. When is the client always right?
Too many rights, the client will face his own face. Yeah, so especially if he's fast also. Yeah, so too many rights won't help you to advance. It will get you in the same point. So make sure how many right clients you have.
Yeah, let's do a survey. No. Now. Who wants to have some questions? I have some more, but I want to find your opinion. We have a question over there. You can say it, I will repeat it, just for the mic.
So yeah, you guys talked about how you approach that challenge.
So I will repeat the question just for the stream. How do you approach the clients? In their free time, you invite yourself basically to their office because sometimes online can be impersonal.
I can, okay, I'll give the answer with perhaps not the answer that we are actually seeking. I'm an engineer. I graduated automatics, yeah. In Polytechnics, we are a bunch of guys that we spoke extremely professional because we were speaking strictly technical, yeah. And we didn't understand that in organizations there may be people that we are actually interested in and they are not technical. Or perhaps they are even tired of such technicalities. If you don't have a culture of diversity, so you know actually what's the strength of a diversity of a person, yeah. In which environments is he living? Yeah, what his friends are doing, what are the social circles that he participates or what he's doing. Yeah, you definitely won't find the correct spot or the correct wavelength to speak with him. If you are not able to do that, just pass over your stubbornness and get someone that can do it. And get someone that is not an engineer, get someone that is specialized in communications, in psychology, in, I don't know, medicine, whatever. Yeah, drinking. Yeah, get someone that is very good at drinking, because a lot of social skills they are developed at drinking. Yeah, so think out of the box and bring the required people to help you to communicate if you are not able to communicate. It's not a recipe. Yeah, professional means to not be to do not have an intention that may be harmful. Yeah, into addressing, or that can, I don't know, be not a pleasant communication. But otherwise, just also build your culture about diversity, so you know how to tackle and how to address to people.
Ioana?
I would say that if you got the first meeting already, it's a very good step forward, and you would preferably for the first meeting not want to take a lot of their time, so maybe propose to go to their office. In that case, they don't spend time traveling, they might not want to travel, so I would propose, if they agree, their company.
And also prepare the communication with them. Just make some kind of simulations. Okay, if I'll meet that guy, what I'll talk with him. If you find answers by yourself to the questions that you wanted to address with him, don't address those.
And just to add something to the question, because for me personally, I started to enjoy very short meetings. And before I was thinking, if a meeting is 10 or 15 minutes, that person might say that I am not so interested in what he or she must say, but I was being just efficient. Is a right amount necessary?
If you are going to speak for 1 hour in a meeting, that meeting is relevant for the people that you are inviting. If you are making a meeting where the people that you are inviting, they are not speaking, or they don't need to actually answer, they only need to take notes, send an email or send a link for a video on YouTube. Don't waste people's time. Yeah. So, a meeting with some people, 10 minutes is like an eternity to speak. With some people, to speak an eternity, it's like 10 minutes. Yeah, depends what you bring in the conversation and what you put on the table. Don't waste time, and don't put a conversation just to hear you, how you are speaking. Yeah, so hearing yourself.
Yeah. We have a question over there.
How much added value is this kind of communication?
How variable is the follow-up in the life of a startup, just to communicate with a company the moment you are in with your startup?
It is extremely valuable if it is done properly. It is extremely valuable only if it is done properly. Because if it is done to be ignored, yeah, because you only put flags, yeah, yes, no, it's okay, it's not okay, it's on timeline, would you mind, please, kind reminder and stuff like that, it's not something effective. People are in different forms, they will ignore those follow-up messages.
Yes, coming back to what we were saying before, try to be relevant. So just tell them if some new feature was implemented that they asked for, or you have an update or on something you have discussed.
If you want to play the role of a calendar, there are plenty of calendar solutions, so don't be a calendar.
Any more questions? Yeah, a question over there.
If you have to choose 3 products to protect your organization, what kind of product would it be? I'm not talking about brands, I'm talking about features, type of products like USB.
To protect your organization. To protect your organization. So 3 products you would choose, or features you would choose to protect your organization. And if you want to ask questions, just raise the hand before, and just to see you when Andrei and Ioana answer.
To such a question, I will respond extremely blunt. God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. You can't protect an organization with 3 products or 3 features, because there are so many parameters on which you need to protect an organization. Yeah, okay, you need to protect it physically, you need to protect it from different services, you need to protect against behaviors. Yeah, you need to protect its values, you need to protect its assets. Yeah, Assets depends where they are deployed, how they are deployed. It's not an easy task. I'll put the same. For you to be protected as a citizen, which three authorities do you want to leave so you'll be protected? Because police, army, and I don't know, firefighters, they're not enough for you to be secure. That's why you have plenty of them.
Ioana?
First, it matters what you need to protect. Do you need to protect personal data? Do you need to protect personal property? Do you need to protect intellectual property? So first, I know in which direction you are going, so I'm not going to answer what you're hoping for me to answer. So no, it's just an evaluation coming back to understanding the customer. What are they trying to protect exactly? Do they process data? Do they process bank information? Do they have personal identification? What are the rules that they need to comply with? Depends on the industry.
We have a question from the online stream. When a developer and a customer have a common interest but a different opinion about something, how can the developer convince the customer that his product is still a good choice for him?
Proof of concept. Build a proof of concept and build a use case to prove him what's the added, what added value your proposition is bringing. That's the only way. But don't build on customer time and money. That you need to do it by yourself if you still want to convince him. It's your investment.
And just one thing, I'm not sure that the developer should be talking directly to the customer. As a rule, there should be another entity there who is either the pre-sales engineer or the account manager that needs to pre-filter, let's say, the requests and also the message to the customer. So I think it's pretty uncommon that the developer talks directly to the customer.
But the developer can be the founder if it's a case for a startup.
Well, actually the problem sits in a different way, because who's actually your customer? Is your technical correspondent from another organization? Is actually some business stakeholder that doesn't know technically what you are speaking? Are you able to speak non-technically with someone even if you have a technical background? Know your customer is a very difficult process, and customer may mean a lot of things. And you need to see when it's best for you to handle the communication directly or to involve someone in between.
Yeah.
Or you can have different hats, like you put the hat of salesman, you put the hat of developer, and coming back to building trust. If you proved yourself to be trustworthy, you know the things that you're developing, you can be a bit more, let's say, bluntly, not arrogant bluntly, but you can say, look, I can do what you are asking me to do, but I can tell you from now, it's not going to work, or it's not going to cover your problems or things like that, if you already have built this trust report.
We have another question. We have time for two more, because I said that I like shorter meetings, but it's like 15 minutes right now. Yeah.
For me personally, your strategy won't work. Yeah, perhaps for the people that spoken earlier, perhaps it works. know your customer.
The question was between curiosity and basically
a little bit down to give comfort and
yeah,
superiority to
but showing the business that you know what they are doing, what they are about.
I think there is a fine line. You can show that you know the trends of the industry, just to show that you've done your research, but you are more interested in how they are approaching this specific trend. So you can give a bit of insight that you've done your research, but still show interest and show curiosity in how they are doing it.
So knowing the trends from the industry, but maybe being curious about how they are doing, how they are tackling those issues, asking questions, basically. Asking questions. Do we have more questions?
Asking the right questions, not the dumb questions.
There is not such a thing as a dumb question.
No, there is a thing as really dumb questions, and where you can find the answer in just opening the phone, because anyway,
What's
Facebook
the dumbest,
or Google
what's
will
the
display
dumbest
to you.
question you can bring on the table in a conversation with a B2B client.
Can your company do everything on security?
Okay.
From the customer, you mean, to us, or that we can address, or that the company can address?
We as a company that wants to sell to another company address.
Oh.
What exactly are you doing?
Usually it's not a question, it's a statement that we can do everything. That's really the dumbest thing that you can say.
On this thing, Andrei, Ioana, thank you very much for being here with us. Thank you for staying so late. I have some wine to give. 1 bottle, 2 bottles, 3 bottles? How many bottles?
We have for each of you, should the one question.
I asked 25 questions.
Who asked questions? Let's read.
Over there, and over there, and over there.
And one in online.
And one in online. Yeah. Thank you.
You'll send digital wine?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that was it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.